Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, all right, all right. So I'm going to ask a favor, and I hope we can do this as swiftly as possible. So we have plenty of seats here, but so many empty front seats. Please, I beg, can you all move forward? Even if it's not to the first two rows, because I know with the positioning of your neck, it can kind of cause a little neck pain or neck soreness. But if you can just move down a little bit, I would greatly appreciate it. Por favor, s'il vous plaît, please. Can you all move down? Nobody wants to move down? I promise I won't like pick on you. I won't pull you to the stage and, make you apply for a job and have your resume critiqued. I promise I won't do that for you. I promise. No one's moving? Okay, all right. It's a tough crowd. I'm gonna do my due diligence. So my name is Laureen Dinlans, and I'm the managing assistant director for internships here at the Career Services. So I know you all just came back from lunch, right? And you probably are now kind of dealing with that lunch slump, and maybe you kind of feel like having that 2 p.m. nap right now. But I may be interceding, and I apologize, I really do. But 2 more days until you have summer Fridays. But ironically enough, I am going to ask you to close your eyes for a few seconds, okay? Please don't fall asleep on me though. All right, so I want everyone to close your eyes. So I'm gonna have you do a little bit of reflection. As you're closing your eyes, I want you to reflect back on that 18, 19-year-old you. You have entered college, you're feeling a little independent, feeling like you are an adult. Nobody can tell you anything. And now you start having to make adult decisions, like choose a major. Choose a career. Think about what industry you're going in. Now, you're at that point. What I want you to now do is think about the services you had around you, the network you had around you, the support system you had around you. Who was there? If someone was there. Who wasn't there? And as you now come back to this day, June 19th, 2019, think about what you would have wanted from that day. Think about that for just a few more seconds. All right, you can open up your eyes.
Well, Lorene, I remember my experience actually. I remember the first time I went to my career service office when I was in college. I went in my freshman year, because I'm an eager beaver, right? And I told the career counselor that I thought when I grew up, what I wanted to do was to build programs that helped people. And I wanted to know what major I should go into or what field. And she said, how about you go into law? And I said, okay. Why? Why would I go into law for that? And she said, well, I wanted to be a lawyer, and I didn't get to be a lawyer, so I think maybe you should be a lawyer. And I never went back to career services again, right? So I'm Jessica Goldsmith Barzilai. With that experience, it might seem ironic that I'm the director of career services here at Kean University. Or maybe it seems fitting because we want to make sure that that's not anybody's experience. We don't want anybody to get generic information about the career that they should go into. We really want to make sure it's a personalized experience. But somehow, I eventually got on a career path, right? Because I ended up here. So who were the people, Lorene, you asked, that I experienced and what helped me, set me on my track? Well, in my senior year of college, I took a class that had an internship as a part of that class. And I got credit for that internship. And I had an amazing professor who sat down and talked to me about what it is that I wanted to do. And together, we figured out that I wanted to go to graduate school to get my master's in social work, but I wanted to specialize in administration, policy, and planning. And so that's what I did. And once I was in that program, I got another internship. And I immediately found out when I was in that internship, I knew from day one exactly what I didn't want to do for the rest of my life. And that's an important lesson to have, right? So I got another internship, and there I found what career I wanted, and I found my direction, and I found my passion, and I was lucky enough to be offered a job before I graduated. So I got my first job from that internship. And then, like a lot of people, you decide at some point you want to move on and do different things. And so I went to my now professional network, and I let them know what I was looking to do, and they reached out to their professional network, and I got my next job, right? So even though we didn't have LinkedIn back then, we still had professional networks that we used, right? So my experience, right, what were the different things that I used? I used my career service office. I used my professors. I used my internships, and then I used my network. That's not so very different from what it is that we do today when we're doing career exploration, right? But a year ago, when I decided to make a career change, after being a really long time in one job, and I set out to do a job search, right? And I went to Staples, and I went to buy my creamy, thick resume paper, right? And what I learned was every single thing about finding a job had changed, right? So I didn't submit my resume on that creamy paper. I submitted my resume online. And I found the job listed online, submitted my resume online, and then my first interview here at Kean was a Skype interview. So things had definitely changed, right? But have career service offices changed? Have universities approach to helping people find jobs, explore what they want to do, get people career ready? Has that changed? You know what? Career service offices have been a little bit slow to make that change, right? Because we're still doing things old school. But now we're catching up. And Kean is making a lot of changes around what their career services office is going to look like, right? Because we don't want it anymore to be someplace that you just send students to and you knock on the door and that's the place you go to learn about career. We want career to be embedded in everything that we do here now. And you know what? We have to do that. And you know why we have to do that? For a bunch of reasons. We know from studies that 4 out of 10 students who graduate in their first years after graduation are going to be underemployed. We know that in 20 years, the jobs that 65% of the jobs that are existing in 20 years don't exist today. So we have to prepare people for the future, right? We know college costs are up. We know guarantees of jobs are down. We know people don't stay in just one job anymore. And we know that they visit their career services offices less. But what do we know about first-generation students? We know that they need career service assistance even more because they don't necessarily have a network of people to go to shadow for jobs, to get internships, to help with their resume. So they need support systems all over so that they're going to be able to compete for jobs with other students, right? And we know from some of the work that we're doing on campus here around retention that Kean freshman students, just like the trend nationally, in freshman year, they're asking for more career service options. So when people are coming in, they're asking right away, what type of job will this land us? And we know that students are retained at higher rates if they're engaged in career services and if they have internships. And we certainly know that enrollment rates are higher when we can show that students are getting jobs, good jobs right when they come out of school. So there's all kinds of reasons we have to change up a little bit about what we're doing. And today, if you pull up the agenda there, so today, what we're going to talk about is what we do in career services and really how it is that we can collaborate with the other departments here on campus. Because again, we don't want to be just a place that you send people to. We want to make sure that we're embedded in the fiber of what it is that you're doing. And we want to make sure that what we're doing in career services reflects what's happening in the industries that people are learning about. So we really want that to be a partnership. So we're going to talk about how we're going to do that. But first, I want to talk about who's going to be doing that. So I want to introduce our team to you. Okay, so we've got Joanne Biter, who's our Managing Assistant Director of Internships, and she's been working for 5 years helping students in the School of Business get internships. You already met Lorene. Lorene DeLance is working also on internships, and she's working broad-based to make sure that we have a process that works for everybody and working with different colleges. We have Paul Casey, who is working on a lot of data things with internships, but he's also working directly, and he's going to tell you about his experience working with College of Liberal Arts. We have Blanca Rosales on. How many of you have seen her pop up in your classes? You know she's the champion of career readiness and has been going around campus for the last over a dozen years informing people about career readiness. We have here our whole team from a partnership that Career Services is doing with College of Education, right? So we've got Bob Masana, we've got John DeFilippis, you got to give me a wave here, Jim Iozzi, we've got Dawn Ward, we've got Sue Candell, and Sue, she's a new manager working on this partnership, so she's come from being a principal working in the field to a lecturer working here, and now she's joined the team so she can create an employment pipeline to help our student teachers get jobs. So that's who our team is. Let me tell you a little bit about what it is that Career Service does, and then I'm going to kick it over to the team. So we do career exploration. We help people figure out what it is that they want to do, combining what they're interested in, what they're good at, and what will support the lifestyle that they want to live, right? Where are different jobs available? What are the different trends? We make sure people are career ready. If I told you that 42% of employers say that their recent graduates have the professionalism and work ethic that they expect, that's a really low number. If I told you that 90% of those students say that they're career ready and that they're professional and have good work ethic, you can see the disconnect. So that's something that we work on a lot. We also work on experiential learning known as internships. So we're doing a lot to get people internships. Just so you know, every student that's going to be here on campus, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, for September, they've all already been uploaded into Kean's new online employment and internship portal. So when they're looking for jobs, when they're looking for job tips, when they're looking for internships, every single one of them has already been uploaded to that portal, and we're going to be able to push out job and internship opportunities. And then we also do employer relations. So you know that we do our job fairs, but we're looking to change that up and work with each college so that they can be more specific, like we do with the College of Education when we do something where we just bring school districts in. We also do recruiting on campus. We're also going to create an employer advisory network to help find jobs, and we want to know about jobs and employers in your industry. So that's an overview of who we are, what we do, and why it is that we need to do this. But now I'm going to kick it over to the team to tell you specifically how we can collaborate with you guys. I got my own mic.
Thank you, Jessica. So, as Jessica shared, today we really are going to talk about this very popular C word, collaboration, right? It's the buzzword. Everywhere you go, we're talking about collaboration. Not only that, we're even teaching our students the importance of collaborating, whether it's through their student organization, whether it's through work, because we understand that working together towards a shared purpose actually impacts the greater good. So I can see here, this is actually a prime example of collaboration as it impacts the student. From the role of the faculty member to the staff, to the alumni network, the community, and last but not least, career services, we actually work together in unison to ensure student success. So we're actually going to start with what collaboration looks like with faculty. And as we know, besides the registrar's office, where the student has to, of course, register for courses, the faculty member is really the first step for student success, because that's where they're actually developing the knowledge and the skills towards their desired industry, their desired major, if they know. So how can we actually collaborate with faculty? Well, one thing we know is this faculty here at Kean University actually has access to a wide array, a diverse array of professionals in various industries. You know who's actually looking for interns. And what better way to share it with career services so that we can actually do the recruitment, support you in the recruitment of interns for robust opportunities. Fortunately enough, we actually have a centralized hub that Jessica referred to as Kean's online employment and internship portal, which will house opportunities and ensure that every single student on campus is aware of the internship opportunities. So we would like for you to continue sharing those opportunities, sharing the connections, so that we can create that nexus between the employers, the students, and career services. And that really jumps into the whole idea of experiential learning, internships. We know, according to the university's strategic plan, I believe it's called Vision 2020, internships are critical. The president has tasked us all as members of Kean University to ensure that every eligible student on this campus is guaranteed at least one internship opportunity. So we have to work together to ensure just how we're going to provide that access to internships. Lastly, we have standard workshops. You have probably met Blanca and Joanne, who have and Joanne is over there, who have actually gone to the School of Business, College of Liberal Arts, you name it. They have gone and done our standard workshops. How to effectively build your resume, how to improve your cover letter, how to prepare for an interview. But we also work with faculty members who tailor their workshops. How does career readiness look like with accounting? How does career readiness look like with history, sociology? Let us know what exactly you actually want from us to share with your students as it relates to career development resources. Let's work together to bridge that connection so that not only do they have that solid academic foundation, but they also have the career tools. So when they graduate and they go across that stage at the Prudential Center, the next step is into a strong career trajectory. This is an actual case study. I call it case study, best practice, again, buzzwords. But I'm actually gonna pass the baton on to Paul Casey so he can share basically a great example of what collaboration looks like with a school.
Thank you, Lorraine. I'm Paul Casey. I'm one of the other assistant directors of internships. And just a little bit of background, my internship more than 20 years ago was at a nonprofit organization that started me on a career. I went to a liberal arts college, started me on a career in human service and nonprofit administration. Switched careers in 2014, and throughout my career, one of the things that has always been at the forefront is collaboration. So on my second day here at Kean, I'm only 6 weeks in, on my second day here at Kean, I had the pleasure of learning about our employment and internship portal sitting next to the communications department. And we learned together what this tool was going to do for us in order to help track internships, help register students into the portal, help them find different internships by students doing searches. So by sitting next to Jeremiah Sullivan and Dr. Sargent, we all learned together that the only way that we were going to be successful for our students is if all of us were working on behalf of students together. Now, the communications department is an academically managed internships. So the faculty members of the communications department are managing their own internships. But I'm the liaison to the College of Liberal Arts, and it's my job to work closely with every department, whether we're managing the internship or not, to help to provide a resource to those departments so that their students can find, apply, and register for internships. And this was a great example because this summer, the communications department has one of the most amount of internships of any department in the college. So, and it's that relationship that we've been able to build in a short period of time that is helping students be more successful at finding internships. And even as we look into the fall semester, we've already got a number of internships that are set up for communication students. And this is something that has quickly begun to distribute into other departments in the College of Liberal Arts. Jennifer Van Dyke has been great in helping us connect with history and English and all the other departments in the College of Liberal Arts in order to make sure that the Career Services Department is serving as a resource, not just to students, but to each individual department, and then connecting with employers that are providing these internship opportunities to our students.
So I just want to give an example of what Paul did when he did that on his second day. You know, a lot of people heard that they were going to be working on internships, and they heard that we were going to be spinning out this portal. And they said, oh, great, that's another portal, another system that someone's giving me that I have to learn about. But that's not what we did. What we did was we worked with, or Paul worked with, communications to say, how do you want this design to work for you? So he was able to customize how the portal would work for them. So they were able to put in exactly which people would have access to the portal, who would approve things. We worked with them to customize that. Yesterday we met with STEM, and they want the portal customized entirely differently for them. But that's one of the things that we want to be clear that we're doing. We're not, yeah, we're tracking internships, right? Yeah, we're getting people career ready. But we want to do it in a way that works with the college. So it's not just an additional barrier in your getting your work done, but it's actually a tool to help us work together on this.
Thank you, Paul. So Paul actually shared a great example of a school that is academically managed. And you are going to hear us go back and forth between the fact that we manage certain programs as far as their internship program, and then there are certain departments that have decided to manage their own internships. So Joanne Biter actually oversees the School of Business through Career Services. She has actually worked with them for about 5 years. So I'm going to have her actually speak to her experience.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Joanne Biter. Who in here is a faculty or a lecturer, adjunct? If I could just see some hands. Okay, so for me, that's those, not to say everyone else is very welcome and we all have to do internships, but that is my key partnership. I'm not in front of the students on a weekly basis. They have to come to our office. So I really depend on faculty, adjuncts, lecturers, people that work, you know, one-stop, people that work with students to promote internships. We still have a long way to go. I've been here 5 years. I guess I probably placed 600-700 students during that time, but in a very tight partnership with faculty. So now the School of Business has decided to have Career be the supervisor of interns, so that would be me. Today I have 25 interns, okay, and that we actually, the College of Business, as you all know, CJ, Criminal Justice and PA are part of it. They've chosen to keep their own. Their internships are really a core part of their curriculum, so they're going to manage their own, but as far as accounting, marketing, and those, they're going to be managed directly here. So it's a lot of change. We're not watering down internships. I talked to Jessica when she brought me over and said, you know, I work with College of Business for 5 years. 3 credits is 3 credits. So we will be as diligent as the professors were in making sure that students are learning according to whatever the curriculum is that they do. But I guess lastly, I just want to say that without faculties, really it's more like promotion in a way. It's saying, you know, have you taken Accounting 101? Have you taken Corporate Finance? Do you have your eyes on an internship? Do you have a resume done? We got a career center ready to help you. I just worked with 2 students late last night. There were 2 alum. They've been out 10 years, okay? Great girls, young ladies. Clueless on how to take their 10 years of work and put it in a resume. One came in with a 3-page resume, and I always say, unless you're a college professor, there's no 3-page resumes. I've spent 30 years in business. The other one had 2 pages. So we sat for an hour. They're coming back next week. Jessica's offered to, you know, keep our office open even in the summer till 7. And remarkable how not just how thankful, but they really got it. Because my philosophy, and I believe we teach to fish. I'm teaching them how to write their resume. I won't write it for them. No one will write your report. So that's critical because that's a ground floor. That every student should have a resume, good resume by sophomore, junior year. because or else we're playing catch up. We're looking for internships and they're not getting anything because, you know, they're sending 3-page resumes out. So I just want to implore the faculty in particular, anyone working with students, if they're juniors, hey, you have a resume, go get one. How about an internship? Can you do it? Or a research assignment? Dr. Tony has told us, I mean, we do internships, but research in certain disciplines is just or more important. Or, you know what I mean, more than that important. So without people reminding students, we all know, they walk around like this, most of them, you know? So without being able to have reminders out there, and we will do our best to shout it out and promote it, et cetera, but there's a lot of stuff taking their eyes off. There's too many of them coming in senior year, just these last couple months. Ms. Biter, can I get an internship? I said, no, it's time you got a job. Right? I'm not that crass with them, well, sometimes I am, but I said, it's time we have a job now. You don't need an internship. There are very few companies that want interns that have graduated. Because for companies, especially in a full-time employment, it's their pool. They bring on 160 from all companies. They hire 30 or 40. And now they're looking at sophomores. E&Y came in. They're looking at sophomores. Why? Because they want to find their accounting. They want to find, and these are the higher level ones, math students. Okay, they don't have to be just accounting. Finance students, IT. There's a lot of competition out for those students. And lastly, yesterday, Jessica put a meeting together with STEM, and they told us how companies are starting to hire locally, very localized. Tomorrow I'll go to Port Authority, has a localized thing for Newark and Elizabeth. Why are companies hiring locally? STEM I already read, and my son is in the program, because we can't keep our STEM. I mean, if you read the paper, we can't keep our STEM graduates in New Jersey. Newark and Elizabeth, why is Port Authority looking at that? I think companies, and I'll find out more tomorrow, are finding out that in order to keep their employees, they're looking for employees that want to stay. And as, who is it, Professor Tachi? Was that it? Said yesterday, our students are not just diversified across the board, they're not just hard workers juggling a lot of stuff, they're also connected to their families and communities, way more than they, quote, traditional third or fourth generation. So thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. So she really laid out just how important faculty members are. But she actually provided a great segue because just as important is our relationship with staff and the different departments. And we actually have a few examples of some partnerships that we've developed and some partnerships that are underway. So 4 prime examples that we can actually share with you today is actually one with the Center for Leadership and Service. So with internships, not everyone is going to pursue it for academic credit, but they are also entitled to actually putting this on their resume and letting people know that they have some viable, robust experience prior to graduating. So one thing we're going to do in conjunction with the Center for Leadership and Service is actually incorporate that non-credit internship onto their co-curricular transcript. So alongside the community service that they've done, the participation in the student organizations that they've done, they will also have it documented that they've experienced an internship. In addition to that, we've also worked with the School of General Studies. Every year they facilitate an undecided major fair. Those students are people who are perhaps sophomores, seniors, juniors mostly, who are still just unsure about what major are they going to declare. In addition to the different departments coming out, we actually come out and we do a mini sneak peek career assessment test because the whole idea is to now bring them into CAS 201. So we work in conjunction with them to introduce them to possible career opportunities and get to know more information and actually meet with career counselors such as Blanca. Also, speaking of Blanca, Blanca has actually done a lot of work with the Office of Student Government. She has actually facilitated career clinics around resume building and cover letter. They've requested that. So again, if there are any custom tailored workshops that you want career services to do to come into your department or your classes, definitely let us know. career@Kean.edu, internships@Kean.edu. And last but not least, we have a relationship with the Office of Student Success and Retention. And this is a fairly new initiative and partnership where we're working in conjunction to create an internship model around the student instruction leaders. So these are students who are going in and providing additional academic support to students who are just a little challenged in certain topic areas. So they actually go in and really create a plan as to how they're going to instruct, how they're going to support the professor, so that they can, at the end of the day, provide additional support to the students. Last but not least are the alumni. The alumni network is part of the community, an integral part of the community, and I'm going to let Blanca end that off.
Hello, everybody. This mic on, right? How many of you are alumni? Raise your hand. Proud alumni, right? There's quite a bit of you in here. That's awesome. It's great to see. So what we do is we actually, as Lorene was actually sharing, we have a lot of great partnerships, not just with the community, the employers, the faculty, the staff, the professors, and everyone, right? We also have a strong partnership with our alumni community. As my colleague Joanne actually shared, our population that we see in our office is 50% alumni, recent and not so recent. I've actually had the pleasure and honor to actually be able to assist alumni that have graduated from Kean University or Kean College from like 20, 30 years ago. They come back. Yes, they do. They not only come back for assistance, but they also come back to actually give back to our community, to give back internship, to give out employment, other opportunities for our students, and other alumni who may be struggling, right? So that's why like I said, we work very collaboratively. So we actually collaborate with the alumni networking event that we actually do every year. This one was actually in March, and as you see the pictures, our VP is up there, Felice, and we actually had a great night, and it actually brought, how many people was it that we actually had there? It was well over 150, I believe. And it was a great partnership. What they did is they brought in collaboration, they brought in the successful alumni. We did roundtables, and we did speed networking. So our juniors and seniors were able to actually collaborate and actually ask questions and ask for connections and just have that networking, have that connection, if you will, because it's very hard. The market is very brutal out there sometimes for some of our students, so we have to assist and guide them and work in collaborations and partnerships, because at the end of the day, it is very tough, and there's no other way of putting it. So we want to be able to give our students the best tools and the best resources that we can actually provide, and we cannot do that on our own. We need you. We need everyone to actually collaborate within the Kean community and outside. So that's pretty much my end of it. Thank you so much.
All right, so I'm going to pop back up over here, right? So what we've been doing is giving you an overview of some of the things that we've been doing and some of the ways that we want to connect. But really now what we want to have is a conversation, because we want to figure out how we can better work together. And so, you know, I can be dangerous if I have a microphone in my hand. See, I like to think that it's like a talk show, right? So I'm going to come over here. See, I can bug folks from the College of Education, because the College of Education already partners with Career Services. So we want to look at how other colleges can partner with Career Services. So who from the College of Education team wants to say anything about how we're approaching things differently, because you guys are now part of Career Services? How are we approaching, whether it's our students? Anybody have anything they want to say? They're all pointing to each other is what they're doing. I can say it for them, but I know they can jump in anywhere. What they're doing now, a part of all their jobs as lecturers and supervisors working with student teachers in their clinical placements, they're actually doing career service workshops with students. They're preparing the students. They're finding out in the schools that they're working in what vacancies there are, and then we're putting them out to every student that we work with, so that we're truly creating the employment pipeline. And that's something that we're doing that's specific to College of Education, because it's a collaboration, and that's how it would work best for the College of Education. Have I said what you guys are doing as we're looking at that, right? So we want to ask, have other people partnered, other people who are here, partnered with career services on any of these different initiatives? Or you guys came out today, right? So that means to some degree you wanted to find out what you could do with career services, right? So what are some of the things that you're hoping to find out today? What are some of the things that you're hoping get accomplished, or even things that you're hearing from your students that you'd like to see done? Come on, jump in with
Jessica,
us.
we actually have a question right here, so let's start with her.
Hello, thank you. I'm Mary Beth Imshow. I run the ASL minor along with Anne-Marie, who also runs the minor with me. And one of the challenges for us is many students have come to us who are getting their degree in speech, some also in psychology, even though we're under speech department, and ask for an externship in one of our local deaf schools here in New Jersey, or a mainstream program, whether it's for observation hours, or actually really to get into that kind of setting and become a speech teacher or social worker. And we've had a challenge. I don't know if it's because we're the minor, quote unquote, but we have not gotten very much success, or partnership, I should say, in establishing the pipeline of an externship or observational hours. So is that something career services could help us with? Because I know in our department, we actually do have someone who schedules externships for speech teachers.
So let's talk about what that looks like, right? So I'm using the term internship, and tell me your name again. Mary Beth, you're using the term externship, right? We're talking about the same thing though, right? We're talking about work in the field. There's a lot of different names that people use. They might say experiential learning. They might call it a field placement, internship, externship, co-op. We're all talking about the same thing, internships in the field. So tell us, because I don't have the answer, but I want to work with you to find the answer. So are those internships, externships, are those required for course credit? Yeah, talk to me.
They are part of our cultural hours. So when you get the minor in American Sign Language, you need a certain amount of credits, or points, should I say, for the class to, as part of the class, part of a percentage. And so that's part of our, syllabi.
So I'll say what I think we can do, and I'll say what I think we can't do, because we've got to put it out on the table. So there are some majors and some fields that, based on their accreditation, have to have very specific internships. They have to meet certain rules, right? College of Education has specific rules that they have to meet. So for some of those, we have stayed further back. But if what you're telling us is you need help in developing some relationships so that you can cultivate externships that you guys place that meet your standards, yes, we can work with you to take a look at that. We can look through College of Education and see what schools we already have connections with. I see lots of head nodding. Was that a thumbs up, or did you want to say something?
What I was going to say is, maybe we can exchange information and you can reach out to me, and I will be able to provide you with some leads. We have lots of contacts into enormous amounts of school districts. So we
Well,
need to sit down and have a conversation.
I appreciate that, because Professor Pacino here, Anne-Marie, has taken a lot of time this summer to reach out to Governor Livingston, Katzenbach, and the problem is that we don't have a relationship yet, or a contract, as they've been calling it. And so we've
memorandum
reached
of
out to
understanding.
our department, but our department is saying, and this is no disrespect in our department, but our department is saying, well, we have our own stipulations. Yeah, I understand that, but I have students who are really good at ASL and want to work with deaf children. So why wouldn't I promote that and support that?
So, go on the email or shoot me off an email. I'm in CAS, 217. I will be there almost all summer. We can sit down, have a dialogue. We have a lot of contacts right up until the superintendent's level in many, many districts throughout the state.
Great, that's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
We can help you.
So did you see, that's what we want to have happen. We want it to be collaboration. We don't want it to be that it's one department has the answers or career services that has the answers, but it's how we can work together and collaborate to make those connections and figure out what it is that we want to do in career services. But again, career services is a fabric of what's happening throughout campus. So who else? What are other things that people are hoping, or what are things that you're hearing from your students? There was a lot of hands that went up for adjuncts. So what are the kinds of things, or what are concerns you have for your students? Are your students getting jobs when they graduate? Okay, we'll do it by a show of hands. Who feels like there's more that we can do to prepare students to get jobs when they graduate? Put up your brave hand. Come on. Are there other folks who feel like there's more that we can do? I feel like there's more that we can do, right? So what we want to do is, what we're going to do, and part of some of our next steps is to go out to each college. And instead of just like we've done in the past, we've sent around a list and said, do you want this workshop, this workshop, this workshop? Or we've scheduled a workshop and then said, will you come? We don't want to do it that way. We want to come out and say, so as a college, as a major, what are some of the things you'd like us to cover? How can we do it that we can schedule a time and get 3 or 4 classes to come out? So I'll give you an example. With criminal justice this year, we were able to bring in the State Department and we were able to bring in the Port Authority, both of whom had really exciting and cool internships. We partnered with criminal justice and liberal arts, maybe? They had an interest. So they promoted it. We figured out a time that worked for their classes. We brought 2 sets of speakers in at one time, right? So that wasn't pulling people out of class several times. And we got over 100 students to come and learn about those internships and career opportunities. Then we followed up and we brought the recruiter back to campus, and the students who were actually interested sat with the person from the State Department and applied for the internships directly. And now we've got a partnership with the Port Authority and the State Department, so they'll report back to us who actually got those jobs. So that's kind of the way we want to do it a little bit deeper than just coming out and doing a workshop on its own. So what are other things that people do want to see? Okay.
Okay. I'm Linda Szymanski. I'm the lecturer from psychology. I also am the program coordinator for the Human Behavior and Organizational IO Masters. So my folks, I've been really lucky with a lot of them graduating. CIA wants my diploma. We're the only ones giving it in New Jersey. I don't know about the State Department, but I've got many of them asking for internships for organizations. I have them joining SHRM, who the lady we had earlier belonged to, but they really would like internships, but they can't come during the day. They're working full-time as it is, and they can't just leave their jobs and come in. How could we arrange something for them that they'd be able to come out, as you said, with the State Department for criminal justice?
We would simply arrange it. So let me ask you, are those internships for credit? Are they built into your curriculum?
No. This would be for non-credit. They just want internships.
So they would go on the co-curricular transcript.
Yeah.
So if you had specific employers or specific ideas, we would arrange an evening presentation, or we could arrange something on the weekend. You're saying to make sure that your students could come and learn more about those because they're not able to come out to the things we do during the day.
Right.
That's the exact example that we want. We want to customize it so it works for your department. So you would let us know, even better if you're telling us you even have employers who want internships, right? So we would organize that, and we'd make sure that we worked with those students, and if we had to do evening, like we said, right now we're open till 7, we're even doing some summer Fridays. We can always open up on a Saturday. We'd prepare with your students' resumes if they needed those to get the internships, but we would simply work with them. And the neat thing is they could even register to come to the presentation right through the Kean's online employment and internship portal, which is good because then if we had follow-up, we could push it out to everyone who'd come to it. But we would simply sit down and arrange what that would look like. We don't want to hold workshops for empty rooms, right? and you want to find ways to get your students to come. So we want to figure out what looks best for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the perfect example. What are other things? Go ahead.
I guess what I want to say is, years ago, New Jersey had 12 deaf schools, and now you're down to 2 because of mainstreaming. But in New York, there's 11 deaf schools that still are up and running. So could a student maybe partner with out of state?
So I'm going to do a comment and a question on that. So we absolutely do internships, and we do employment opportunities outside of New Jersey. We're about to partner with Washington, the Washington Center. Joanne in Business will tell you lots of her students end up in New York. But my question would be, is there anything about the certification in New Jersey, right? Like when our student teachers are going out, they have to do that in New Jersey because that's part of their student teaching certification rules. So we'd have to look if that was a rule. But no, we don't have to stick specifically to New Jersey. Absolutely we don't. We've got New York here, we've got Pennsylvania. I'll tell you a cool thing. We're having our very first Kean intern whose internship site is our Wenjo Kean campus. So no, we absolutely don't have to stick to that. What else? What are other things? What are challenges that maybe your students are facing? Right? Or things that you hope to learn by coming out today so we can talk about what some of the next steps look like. Are there things in particular that people would like to see? I know I see folks from the NTLC, and I know we've partnered with you guys on LinkedIn workshops, right? And we certainly send folks over to the writing center, the tutoring center, when we see that they really need a skill more than just looking for a job. So I know we've partnered with NTLC on those. Go ahead.
Hi, I have a question. I'm Gwen Cleese from Athletic Training, and we have a lot of students come into our program and don't really understand what athletic training is. And once they find out, some of them love it, and some of them decide they don't want to pursue the major. Does your office provide any like career testing or any kind of a assessment that we could maybe send the students to you and they could get a better idea of where they should land, you know, outside of our majors?
I'm going to kick that over to Blanca, who handles that.
We do have career assessments for all students. Actually, as a matter of fact, alumni take advantage of that as well. So we do the assessments that are just, because a lot of students tell me, I take it online, but there's no follow-up. So it's important not only for them to take it, but they also have to follow up with a professional who's trained with those assessments so that we can do career exploration and thereby help them in their career goals. So yes, absolutely. We offer variety, personality assessment, interest assessment as well, among others. Absolutely.
So when we think of it, we think of a kind of a continuum so that people in their freshman year might be coming and doing assessments or just having conversations about what careers might look like. We might be advising them, wait, that fits in a different major. We might be reaching out to a school to discuss if there's something, if we're getting a lot of students coming in with specific questions, we might do something together. Then we want to work with students to make sure they get internships because internships are the new interviews, right? So we want to make sure their resumes are ready. We want to make sure they apply for those internships. Then we want to make sure that we make sure that they have part-time employment. Do people know that Career Services also does a part-time employment job fair? Because our students are more likely to stay in school if we're able to get them jobs that are local. So that's something that we do. Then we want to make sure, and we're coming out and doing workshops with you guys. We're bringing employers to campus. We have recruiting table that over in Cass. We want to partner more on job fairs. So instead of bringing 100 employers and 500 students, we're really looking at how we can target more specifically, like we do with the teacher job fair, and bring just employers and just students that are likely to make a match. So that's something we're looking at changing up. But then what we do, and this is Blanca's our specialist in this, she not only prepares people's resumes, but she prepares them for interviews. She practices interview skills with them. Then if they get job offers, she'll even practice how to negotiate some of those things. We've been invited in by professors to give final exams in classes by actually having them come in ready for an interview. And we research companies and they interview with us. So we're really happy to pop up in your classes. I think I have I think we have a slide somewhere there that kind of shows if you only see us in career services, then it's not the right thing. You know, you guys know what a crossover episode is for a television show, right? You know, your favorite character pops up in another episode and you kind of follow the stream. Well, we want to have those crossover episodes all across campus. So whether that's with student government, with a specific major, wherever that might be. If there's things that we need to do, you'll see us popping up at homecoming, right? Because not only because we want to make sure that we're getting, we are one of the only universities that assist our alumni for free, but we want to make sure our alumni is recruiting with us. So we're pushing our alumni all the time to use us as their recruiting department. We want them to take our interns. You should be seeing our faces popping up all over campus to do that, whether it's in your classroom, whether it's at an enrollment event, whatever that looks like specifically to you. And we want to see you guys popping up in our office as well, right? So if you've got assignments that you want to incorporate career into, we know in GE you absolutely use resumes and have us come into class. We really want it to be built into the fabric because, again, our students are using, in general, trend, national, they're using career services less and less. And more and more and more employers are saying they are not prepared to go to work. So we really have to figure out how we bridge that gap together. And specifically, the research is showing that for first-generation students, they need more assistance in making connections because they don't have the ready networks. So we have to look together at how it is that we might do that, right? I've got Miss Ethel Eady here all the time who's shooting me job leads for the School of Education, College of Education, to make sure that our teachers get jobs when they come out, right? Always hot off the press, can you get this on out? That's a collaboration.
I'm Margaret Biner from the School of Business. I'm curious specifically, what do you mean when you say there's a disconnect between the students' preparation for work and what the employers see as not being prepared? What specifically can I help work on in my classes with my students?
Great question. So, so studies done by NACE, which is the National Association of College Education. They show that students come out, 90% of them say that they are work ready in terms of professionalism and in terms of work ethic, right? And then we know that our employers are saying at 42.5%. They're also saying at 42% that our students, only 42% think our students have the communication skills to go to work. So they're talking about things that seem very basic to us, but people are losing their jobs because they're not showing up on time. They're not coming dressed properly to work. They're sending emails with the letter U in it because they're used to doing it from a text, right? They're not necessarily taking the time to learn the culture of the workplace, right? It's so important. We all come here and work at Kean, and we have to know what the culture of working in academia is, right? And they're not taking the time to learn that. So we're getting that kind of feedback. They're saying right now that it's not such a disconnect in the technical skills, it's those soft skills. So for example, one of the things that we're going to be doing for every student that goes out and has an internship, their first day of internship will be with us. And we're going to be doing, we've kind of got a couple of names for it, a soft skills course, internship academy, we're still how to thrive and survive in an internship, so we can begin to talk to people about, not that every workplace is the same, but how do you figure out what that culture is? Do you text your boss? Is that okay? Even down to specific things like being on time. If the bus arrives at 8 and you're supposed to be at work at 8, you will be late if you have to walk from the parking lot to your office. So what does that mean? Literally telling people that means you take the bus that gets at 7:50. That means you do a dry run before you ever do it. But those are some of the skills that we want to see. I don't know, Blanc, if you have anything to add to that, but we're finding out that that's what's losing people jobs.
Hello, my name's Ethel Eady, and I work with Teacher CERT. And what she's really talking about is dispositions. And in the College of Ed, that's what we emphasize. It's one of the areas that we look at in terms of placing students And we really covered dispositions because if you're not prepared psychologically, emotionally, and are not aware of what to do in the workplace, you will not survive. And dispositions training is soft, like you said, because it's all cultural, it's all based on experience, but it has to be done because, again, students need to understand that going into the business world, the educational world, the science world, there's key things that they look for. Someone that behaves well, is dressed well, is professional. And they may be different in terms of what they may be doing, but that is key.
I see you sitting next to human resources, and human resources has everything to do with employment. So if we could put Gina on the spot for 1 second. Gina, would it, and you can say something or you can nod your head. Is it true, you see a lot of resumes come in, and you also see when employees here have issues. So do you find that a lot of times the issues that we have for employees, our own employees here, have to do with some of lack of understanding of what needs to happen in the world of work, especially for students who are first coming out and getting hired? Right? More so than maybe that they don't have the technical skills to do the job? That's something that you're seeing. Right.
I think it's great to hear that you guys are going to be getting in the classroom more. I've noticed just from the students that we've hired, I've been here at Kean for the past 14 years, and I've noticed just a gradual carelessness, I guess, in their approach to work, and just in terms of the students that we've interviewed in human resources not being as prepared for interviews. Also, just in terms of the professionalism, you mentioned the way that they dress. I think we can do a lot better by getting them as freshmen, as sophomores, as juniors, and as they go through Kean and really work on those skills year by year and build on things together with our department. I mean, I didn't even know you guys had a portal. This is amazing. I want to put a link to your portal on our employment page because I think a lot of the students are really looking for internship opportunities and looking for work. So I think we could do a lot more collaboration. I'd like to join your job fairs so that we could start hiring some of our alumni at Kean more and more. But I think that it's really great to hear that we are going to be offering the students so much more in the classroom because there really is, I mean, just in terms of the resumes we review and things, there's so much work that we can do. And I think if we're going to focus on that at Kean, our students will be so much further ahead of other universities. So.
Gina and I talk often as we've been staffing up our office, and here I think I have all these good communication skills, but I didn't invite her to our job fair. So I don't have Kean recruiting at our job fair. That's a pretty obvious missed opportunity, right? So thank you for that. Are there other things, again, we really wanted this to be a conversation, and we want you to walk away knowing things that you can do to connect to career services. So we know that we're going to have a connection here so we can work on these externships. We know that we're going to be adding the portal to the HR site and having Gina out at our job fairs, right? We know that we're going to be looking at what more we can do around soft skills in class. We know we're going to be promoting internships, but we're also going to be reaching out to every college to say, okay, what do you want to do with career this semester? It won't be so much what you've seen before, which is maybe Blanca coming out to 50 different classes. It'll be more figuring out what we can do to get those classes together, which will also get us some of the bigger employers to come out when they hear we have big groups. But are there other things that you're looking for from career services? Or again, just other things that you're hearing trend-wise that are happening that relate to getting our students employed, interns?
Well, let me interject actually, and actually give
I've got
an
a question
honorable
here.
mention. So just listening to Gina just talk about the importance of integrating essential skills into the classroom and career readiness tools in the classroom, I actually see Dr. Bogri here from the Mathematics and Statistics Department, and we actually had a conversation about what collaboration is going to look like. And moving forward, he actually plans on, bringing his faculty members together to actually incorporate that as a requirement in the courses. Some courses, not all the courses, but he is going to have a meeting with all his faculty members to incorporate that and ensure that they come to CAS 201. So.
Hi. So one tool that I've seen in other institutions is mock interviews, in which you invite employers onto your campus to meet with your students, to work on some of the soft skills that Ethel was saying. And while they're seeing your students, they're helping them with some growth opportunity to better interview. What are certain industries asking? What are the trends of the questions, the interview questions that they're seeing? And while they're doing that, it's a chance for us to showcase our students, and without the pressure that they have to hire them for interns. So it's building relationships with companies in a softer approach as you start building those partnerships outside.
Helen, that's a great example, and we're trying to figure out, we've got a lot of employers who are saying, how can we get in front of your students? And we have alumni who also want to figure out how they can do more. So maybe having them do those mock interviews instead of having us try to go out to do the classrooms is probably a great idea. Thank you.
Oh, hi. This is Dr. Chu from Computer Science and IT. Hi, Blanca. So we do have a career education class integrated into our curriculum. So it's a elective, 1 credit. So we started last semester, and so far, I have developed the course. We had taught the class, and Blanca had came to us a couple of times to talk about career services and what you guys are doing. So I have invited a lot of my alumni from for computer science and IT, okay, and some of the some employers as well, just to give them a talk about what is expected of them and things like that. The career education class is the whole semester, just only 1 credit hour. So that kind of talks about how to write a resume, computer science, contacts type of thing. We do a lot of, we do the mock interviews, do the elevator pitch and things like that. So starting last year, we had incorporated into our curriculum. So by second year and the first year, second year they have to take it. But it's still elective at this moment. So hopefully we'll see some results that, that's been successful. So far, I got 2 guys who got a job. So who got jobs?
She got 2 guys who got jobs from that class. So that's like, give her for that. That's, computer science and IT have been so great about really looking and seeing how they can do, how you can be proactive. And we can take a look and see if those students, we can look at retention, we can look at if they get jobs. But that's a huge thing that is being worked in. Is it a popular class? Well, you're saying right now it's an elective. So that's excellent, and we're going to want to do something for internships there. Great, that's great. Was there a question right there?
Okay, this might be on a little slightly different subject. So I teach a lot of freshmen, and they're not really looking for internships. They're just looking to get a job that kind of meshes with their college schedule so they can survive here. Is there any work at Kean, like linking companies that can hire people so that they can afford their education that might be a little lenient hour-wise, so that our students can actually do their homework and go to class and all that? I don't know if that's part of your department.
It is
I'm
part
new
of our
here,
department.
so I don't know.
It is part of our department. We, in September, we do a part-time job fair. We do it in conjunction with Res Life so that we have everyone from the dorms. It's open to everyone, but we specifically bring employers who understand that they're employing folks who are college students, they're coming out specifically for that. And we also get a lot of those employers who recruit on campus at a table that we have. And I think, Blanca, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that built from the first year when Res Life did it on its own and had, I think, maybe 8 employers. And last year we did it in partnership and we had, how many employers? We had 55 employers coming out who specifically knew that they were recruiting college students. So absolutely yes, I think we're about to get that date out there very soon, right? So yes, we do that. On-campus employment is slightly different, but we do let everyone know where to go to learn about on-campus employment.
So I just wanted to add something about relationships with employers. So one of the things that we're finding that in the Office of Internships is that there's a lot of relationships that are already existing in the university, whether it's in the College of Business or CLA or whatever the college might be. And for instance, psychology had a good relationship with St. Barnabas. And we learned about that relationship with St. Barnabas and continue to try to figure out who else in Barnabas Health that we could develop a relationship with. And psychology was placing clinical students with St. Barnabas, but they also have a corporate internship program for communication students and architecture students and any number of other departments. So it's critical that if there are relationships that exist within the university with employers specific to a major, that we also know about that in the Office of Career Services so that we can identify whether there may be other opportunities for students in other departments. For example, earlier this week, I had a conversation with New Jersey Transit about an internship program, and I kind of was expecting one thing, and then at the end of the conversation, they said their greatest need is students that are studying graphic design. So you never know what you're going to get when you're talking to an employer in regards to where we may be able to take place a student from with that employer. So just as you're thinking about the relationships that already exist in the university, think about ways that we can continue to grow those relationships to serve more students.
Are there any other questions, suggestions, thoughts, comments? Does everybody know what they're going to go back and what their next step is? Because you guys have given us some next steps. Does everybody know, like, oh, this is what I'm going to do with, right? We know Gina, she knows she's going to do the job fair and put up our portal. But does everybody else know some different next steps that they can do? Because again, we want this, not to be just us presenting. We're all a team, right? We're the Kean community and we're working on this together. So at any time, if any of your departments want to come into our office and say, how could we work better together? What could we do? You want us to come out to an event, we'll do that. But we really want you to think of it as not, I'm sending people to career services, but more, I'm working collaboratively with career services to make sure our students have the best employment opportunities. Is there anything else anyone wants to add?
I think now I'd like to, hear from the audience the takeaways. What did you think of the presentation? What is something that you'll do differently, knowing that we are here? We're here to serve you right there at CAS 201 or wherever you saw our faces popping up around the Kean community. Does anyone have anything to share? And if you'd prefer to just share this offline, you can absolutely email us at internships@Kean or career@Kean. No one? Now you didn't come in front for me, and now
Lorraine's going to get a complex there, right? Well then.
Oh, we have someone.
Well, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate it. I know at my department, we're overwhelmed with a lot of changes in CDD going on and being a little bit disconnect because we are the ASL minor and not everybody signs and all. So sometimes we feel a little lost on this specific topic. So I appreciate it. I actually learned a lot, and I'm sure Amory did as well. So we look forward to working together with all of you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We want to make sure you get to specialize in what you specialize in, and we get to specialize in the other things so that we can work together. So thank you for saying that. We know you had a lot of choices of things that you could come out and see today. So we thank you for coming out. We hope that we met your expectations. Now, I don't know if you know this here, but Career Services and and International Studies. They're actually together in CAS 201. So over here, Katsumi, who manages the Center for International Studies, is making a plug for her presentation, right? We'll be presenting again in a different building tomorrow on supporting our international students, so she's asked me to get a quick plug in. But otherwise, I think we're just going to say class dismissed, and thank you.
Thank you.